Kraken City is one of those games that captures your attention from the very first frame. Yeah, this is the title screen. And can we just appreciate how freaking nuts this is? Title screens are where games make their first impressions, setting a tone, a vibe, a mood for the game ahead. But what the hell am I in for with Kraken City? Surprisingly, this title screen does a good job of setting the tone. It's clearly not taking itself too seriously. But since games are generally more than just a title screen, no matter how, hypnotic. So, let's take a look at the rest of the game and see if it has as much going on in my review after 100% for Kraken City. Kraken City is an indie action game developed and published by N-Star Cube that was released on December 10th, 2024 for PC. Its unique blend of hack-and-slash mechanics, distinctive visual style, and goofy tone alone make it worth checking out. It reminds me of my favorite era of beat-em-up and hack-and-slash games from the mid-2000s, with games like One-Chanbara Bikini Samurai Squad, where it's clunky and a bit repetitive, but there's a charm to its simplicity. But don't be mistaken, this ain't One-Chanbara. You play as the Dark Magician, an apostle of the great Kraken Nyalato. You're tasked with doing the Kraken's bidding, which is mostly to kick the crap out of everyone, using them as sacrifices and to acquire a vast wardrobe of skimpy outfits.
Yeah.
There's a bigger plot about organized crime in the city and for some reason, orcs? And freaking organized orc crime? Who in the hell writes this stuff? The story really doesn't matter. There aren't any stakes, twists, and zero character development. Some of the characters you interact with dole out missions, but don't be fooled. These are basically all the same. Just defeat a certain number of enemies, and that's it. Now, the objective might say that you're supposed to get a specific article of clothing or defeat a target enemy, but ultimately they all boil down to beating some ass. And speaking of ass, the big draw is fighting enemies in skimpy outfits. The fast-paced combat emphasizes simple yet frantic action. There isn't much in the way of enemy AI. They'll swarm you from all sides, pummeling you relentlessly. While there are quite a few different character models, most enemies don't fight any differently, usually just looking to settle their differences with fists. Eventually, orcs are mixed in for some reason that are tougher and stronger than the rank and file enemies. Other enemies are packing heat, so you'll want to prioritize them since they can wreck you at a safe distance. And then there are a handful of bosses who fly around and shoot magic. So what do? To fight back against the enemy onslaught, you have simple combos, a dodge, and a finishing move after building up your meter. And these are all over the top in the best possible way. You'll eventually unlock different fighting styles that you can instantly toggle between, like capoeira and wrestling, that while they visually change up the combat, don't impact the combat all that much. Yeah, fights look pretty rad, but all's not perfect. And this is where the differences in those older hack-and-slash games become clear as day. First is the camera. And yeah, those were terrible back in the day too, but that could be somewhat remedied with the enemy lock-on, to keep the camera pointed at your target. In Kraken City, there's no lock-on. This not only has you regularly fighting the air, but has the added benefit of not letting you see that you're whiffing so much. The bigger problem is that the combat never evolves. Other than adding the visually distinct fighting styles, you never get any new moves or combos. The enemy types never force you to mix up your fighting, and you're never put into a situation where you'll have to adapt using a new strategy. You will get somewhat stronger through some permanent buffs over time, but the way combat feels in the first fight is about the same as the last fight. Now, there's one element I found pretty fun from beginning to end, and that's the ability to summon the Kraken's tentacles to grab and subdue enemies. Yeah, it's rad. This not only gives you breathing room when things get chaotic, but you can smack money and health out of the enemies. And as you progress, you'll be able to summon more tentacles at once. 0 notes. So, in addition to your fists and feet, you'll run around summoning these tentacles, smacking asses to refill your health as money spills out. And you'll need money to buy upgrades and some of the clothes from the various vendors you'll come across. The upgrades give permanent boosts to health, health recovery, magic, and more. After a few upgrades, you'll feel the difference, especially with health recovery and more tentacles. Now, it's called Kraken City, but should really be called Kraken Street? Seriously, you know how all the footage suspiciously looks like it's from the same location? Yeah, I didn't do that to spare you of some environmental spoilers or big reveals. What you're seeing is what you get. There is literally just the one location in the entire game. You can go up and down this street, there's a store, and there are a few NPCs who either sell you items or give missions, and that's it. And while it's a very limited location, the visual design is bright and colorful, filled with quirky characters. There's a lot of variety in the character models, which prevents monotony from setting in. However, I suspect everything's from an asset pack. Though there are these little touches, like the personalities of the NPCs, that I just found endlessly amusing. And the music, oh shit, it goes hard. Especially the main track and battle theme, complete with lyrics about the Kraken. It makes me wonder how much of the game's budget went to that one track. The main character is the standout visually. Her over-the-top combat moves and extensive wardrobe are fantastic. Her animations are solid and punchy, especially the super moves. Each outfit is well designed and showcases the physics with flowing fabric. And yeah, the physics are definitely on point. Though she has that vacant, uncanny valley doll stare, like she's peering into my soul. And I can't help but feel like I've seen her somewhere before. Wait, is that her in Daisy the Swimmer? N-Star Cube's other game from 2024? Hold on, she's also in their other game, Orc's Bride from 2023? Those orcs look awfully familiar too. I can't rag on them too much. They found a formula that works for them, and by God, they're gonna keep using it again and again. Though after reskinning the same game again and again, I would have expected less jank. Maybe that's just wishful thinking. The game has almost Goat Simulator energy, where everything's barely hanging on by a thread. But you're not mad because everything's so damn nuts. The completion process for this game is about as easy as it gets. To get all of the achievements, you simply need to finish a handful of missions, acquire all outfits, and finish the story. And that's it. In fact, I even acquired all of the items and upgrades, which wasn't required for the achievements. And it still only took me about 2.5 hours to do everything. If you're looking to get everything in the game, you can grind by summoning the Kraken outside of missions. That way you're up against fewer threats, and will have tons of cash in no time. Here's the thing, this game feels like an extended single level of another game, but hardly feels like a full game in itself. There just isn't that much depth or variety. Thankfully, you can pick it up for cheap. I got this game for around $3.50, and that felt decent for the time I got out of it. But what's frustrating is there's actually potential there. If N-Star Cube wasn't so busy trying to relaunch the same game multiple times a year, and put a bit more effort into this game, they'd have something special. The combat with its over-the-top moves are a blast. The costumes are fun to pick up, and the premise is totally unique. With a bit of polish, more locations, and a loop that could sustain the increased length, I'd happily pay a good bit more. As it is, Kraken City is a short, fun, and cheap diversion, but not much more. Now, if you like N-Star Cube style, they have a sexy horror game set for release soon, called Fear of Hot Water Ghost. Hey, she looks familiar. And have I seen those orcs before? Wait, tentacles? Oh my god. Okay, what game do you want me to check out next? If you liked the video, hit like and of course subscribe. And if you want my thoughts on another game, check out my video right here. I want to thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.